How's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for July the 9th, 2021. The final episode of Smackdown at the Thunderdome. Next week, we're back with the WWE Universe in Houston, Texas. The go-home show for Money in the Bank. That's next Friday, but this show, the end of an era. In WWE, we do have one more Thunderdome show. That is Monday Night Raw, which has already been taped. So technically, this was the last Thunderdome show to be recorded by WWE. Even though Raw will be airing on Monday, this show was the last one to be done at the Thunderdome. So let's get down to it. We kicked off SmackDown with Paul Heyman backstage, and Jimmy Uso shows up. Of course, Jimmy Uso in the headlines this week, the DUI arrest. Yet Jimmy was here on SmackDown. He was looking to go into Roman Reigns' locker room, and Heyman stopped him. Heyman said that Jimmy will get Reigns' full attention very soon. We had Roman Reigns come to the ring, and we had the fake Roman sucks chants. Very curious to see what they do next week. Will there be piped in chants? Will the actual fans in the crowd chant Roman sucks, or will they cheer him? I guess we'll find out next week. Reigns called Edge a liar, saying that he's not a coward, he's not afraid of Edge. But Reigns did admit, for maybe 10 seconds, there might have been a little bit of fear at WrestleMania, but the fear propelled him, and he ended up picking up the win. He then said it was time to handle business with Jimmy. He brought Jimmy to the ring, and Jimmy basically wanted to know, where was Reigns last week? Was Reigns taking a vacation? And Reigns laughed it off, said he does not take vacations because he was busy doing Jimmy's job. And that led to Jey Uso making his return after several weeks away. Jey got on the mic and said that he is back for the family. Like Vin Diesel, it's all about family. And he said he's back for all of them. He told Jimmy that he wants to team up again and become 7-time tag team champions. The two of them hugged and reunited, and then it was just Reigns. Reigns said he wants everybody to be on the same page, and together, nobody can touch them if they do things his way. And that led to Reigns opening up his arms, and we had our big 3-way hug. I will say this, not as good as when Bret Hart reunited with Owen Hart and Davey Boy Smith shortly after WrestleMania 13. But this was still really good. Fun addition to this storyline, even though there's the whole real-life situation with Jey Uso. And I'm just really hoping that WWE is handling this behind the scenes, since they've chosen to not publicly comment on it, and Jimmy is clearly still in the storyline. I'm hopeful that Jimmy will be getting help, and this will never happen again. One can only hope. Looking at some of the comments here, Walter says they have to act like nothing happened to not bring attention to it. Atomic Cody says, once again, WWE is sweeping the DUI under the rug. And Muhammad says, good evening to you. SmackDown was not bad tonight because I was out all day. Glad to join you in the live chat. I appreciate you tuning in, Muhammad. Same with everybody else. We had our first match of the evening, which was King Corbin, or I'm so used to saying King Corbin. It's Baron Corbin. And before I get to that, to respond to Sean in the chat room, I would think in real life, Roman Reigns is very unhappy about the DUI arrest. I mean, he has to be, right? I would see him being pissed off that Jimmy is potentially screwing everything up and giving them bad publicity and risking the storyline being changed. Absolutely, I could see Roman Reigns' Joe in real life not being happy at all about this situation. So we don't know. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, what Vince's reaction to all this is, what Joe's reaction to this is in real life. I just hope, like I said, that Jimmy is behind the scenes getting help, and they're gonna do everything they can, and he's gonna do everything he can so this doesn't happen again. So Baron Corbin cut this promo backstage, said he needs to beat Shinsuke Nakamura. Yes, yet another match between these guys, like the 5th or 6th one in the past 3 months. Corbin said he needs to win this match. His life is a mess. He needs to win this match to qualify for Money in the Bank so he can turn his life around. Now, apparently he is so far down in the gutter that Kevin Dunn, the production guys, they don't even want to play his music. That's how far he's fallen from grace. They cannot even bother to play his entrance music when he comes to the ring. Big E was down there. He had a couch, and him and Pat McAfee were getting their feet soaked. Big E had some footage to show, and apparently earlier in the day, King Shinsuke and Rick Boogs, they won Baron Corbin's car at an auction, the car that was repossessed last week. Then we had the match begin, and before it could even get going, during Shinsuke's entrance, Corbin had enough of the pomp and circumstance. He attacked Shinsuke Nakamura, and you had this match where Corbin was sent to the outside. He attacked Rick Boogs. He really could not stay focused on Shin. He did give Shin a brain buster on the table. Got a near fall with the deep 6, but then Nakamura was able to make a comeback, and he hit the Kinshasa to pick up the victory over Corbin, who continues his downward spiral. And Colin Andrew pointed out that Big E was wearing a Bayley t-shirt. That was one of the big news stories today. Bayley is out of action due to what's reported, not by WWE, reported as a torn ACL. She could be out of action for almost a year. It really sucks. The timing is bad anytime, but to get injured right before the fans return, after Bayley was one of the MVPs of the Thunderdome era, certainly had a lot of great moments over the past year and a half, making the most of a bad situation. For her to get hurt right before the fans return, it's heartbreaking. It really is. So anyways, Nakamura advances to Money in the Bank, and hopefully this is the last Corbin-Nakamura match for a while, but knowing WWE, I would not be shocked to see it again in a couple weeks. They got to do it in front of the fans, right? That'll be their justification for it. And no, Darren, I don't think Bayley is pregnant. She was reportedly training because a lot of the roster, they're practicing for going back on the road and touring again. Keep in mind that they were only wrestling once a week, and now they're going to be going back to wrestling 2 to 3 times a week again. And a lot of guys and gals are going to the Performance Center to practice and get ready for that. And apparently it was a freak accident and she got hurt. Alberto Gomez with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Alberto. Says, I was really looking forward to the I Quit match. I mean, I really wasn't that much because the feud has gone on too long. But I think it would have been a good match. I was never going to predict Bianca to lose the title, but I think it would have been a fun match with a live crowd. We had the Usos chatting backstage, talking about the situation with Edge. And then we had a tag team match. We had Natalya and Tamina against a mystery tag team, which turned out to be Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox. Yes. Both of them have been doing dark matches as of late. This was a non-title match. And you had a hot start for the NXT girls. Tamina tagged in, got some offense, and then Natalya tagged back in, and Shotzi was able to pick up the win over Natalya with the senton. So the NXT team picks up the win in their first match, non-title. Standard WWE where the champions lose a non-title match. I mean, whatever. I guess in this case it's fine because you're establishing the new team. And people are wondering why not Shotzi and Ember Moon. Well, I think for one thing, Ember Moon prefers being in NXT. She was already on the main roster. And I know they've been wanting to call up Shotzi for a while, and Tegan got the dark match as well. So it looks like both of them are going to be debuting. Well, they did debut, but they'll be part of the main roster here. Also, there was a video package for Toni Storm. Toni Storm will also be debuting on SmackDown in the near future. So in the span of the week, we got Zelina Vega back, Shotzi Blackheart, Tegan Nox, and Toni Storm all on SmackDown, beefing up the SmackDown women's division. That's definitely a positive. Hopefully that momentum will continue and we'll start to see the division develop and get some more depth to it. We had Edge cutting a promo backstage, being interviewed, saying that he was planning to call out Roman Reigns, and he was curious to see if Dumb and Dumber would join him or if he would actually go out there on his own. We had Sonya Deville come to the ring to announce the replacement opponent for Bianca Belair. And instead of Bayley, it will be Carmella. I'm sure some people are disappointed about that, hoping for a bigger surprise. And Walter Cruz just sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Says, I thought Becky Lynch was coming out. Carmella, boo. Well, here's what they did. Instead of the pay-per-view, they announced this match for SmackDown, which I get because they probably anticipated some fans being disappointed. So instead of throwing it on the pay-per-view, they put it on SmackDown next week. And there was more. First of all, Sonya showed footage of Bayley, who cut a promo basically blaming the fans for her injury. And then we had Carmella cutting a promo talking about her title match. She was interrupted by Liv Morgan, who was very unhappy about Carmella getting this title match. But Sonya said that Liv would be taking Carmella's spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And Liv told Carmella she hopes Carmella wins so she can cash in on Carmella. Then we had Bianca Belair arrive. She did question if Bayley's injury was legitimate, but nonetheless, she said she does respect Bayley as a competitor, and she'll see Carmella next week on SmackDown in Houston, Texas. So it is what it is. Carmella getting the title match. They're doing it on SmackDown. Liv gets the Money in the Bank spot. I'm fine with that. Good segment here. No real complaints. I feel like Becky will still be on Raw, but we'll see. Nothing announced yet. We had Paul Heyman meeting with Roman Reigns and saying that Edge was questioning his manhood, and that just got Reigns more salty. We had our final men's Money in the Bank qualifying match, Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. They had a long match here. Kevin Owens was on commentary. They started off with some mat wrestling. Rollins was getting frustrated because Cesaro got the upper hand. Rollins got control after the first commercial break, and then after the second break, Cesaro started to make a comeback. He did the big swing, got the sharpshooter on, but Rollins quickly got to the ropes, and then the turnbuckle got exposed. Cesaro got sent into the turnbuckle, and this was the turning point in the match. Cesaro got busted open. Not sure if it was intentional or not, but he was bleeding right after he went into the turnbuckle. And Rollins tried to get a couple of quick wins, went for a roll-up. There was a kick out. Rollins tried to grab the ropes for leverage. That did not work. And Cesaro almost got counted out twice. Rollins did a DDT on the ramp, and Cesaro barely got back into the ring in time. And Cesaro kept fighting, but in the end, Rollins hit the curb stomp. And intentional or not, the blood added to this match a lot, in my opinion. Added that dramatic effect. And as long as it's not overdone, like, I like to see a little bit of blood every now and then, especially in a match where there's something on the line. And when Cesaro's losing this match, you know, he comes off like a fighter. He's bleeding. He refused to get counted out. A very good match here between these guys. Really enjoyed it. And hopefully that's the last of them, though, because they've been having several matches. And I want to see some new feuds and new rivalries. And what a loaded lineup for this Money in the Bank ladder match. We got all 8 guys for the men's Money in the Bank. You got Rollins in there now. You got Big E. You got Riddle, Ricochet, John Morrison. Like, it is a loaded lineup for this Money in the Bank ladder match. It's going to be a really fun one, I'm thinking. And backstage, Rollins cut a victory promo. He mentioned how he cashed in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania on Roman Reigns, and maybe he will cash in Money in the Bank at Money in the Bank. This led to Edge confronting Rollins, saying he's going to do what Rollins isn't man enough to do, and that's call out Roman Reigns. Again, little tease for the future. Probably going to be a SummerSlam match, Seth Rollins versus Edge. We had a promo from Chad Gable and Otis. Basically, everybody's on notice. Even Roman Reigns and Otis vowed to destroy everyone. And I agree with Otto119 in the chat. Blood was definitely overused in the Ruthless Aggression era. I remember guys were getting busted open like every week. And I do think AEW can tend to lean towards doing it too much. But when it's done every once in a while, like, it's memorable and it adds to the dramatic effect of a match. If you just do it every single time, then it doesn't really mean much. But in this case, I thought it was helpful in the telling of the story of the match. Alberto Gomez with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Alberto. I very much appreciate it. He says, to get injured while you're on your best run of your career, that sucks. Yeah, she wasn't doing anything interesting, but she was doing her best work as a heel. Wishing her a speedy recovery. As I am, very well said, Alberto Gomez. And I'd like to see her on TV. Why not? I mean, they love the 3-person announce teams. Why not give her a run as an announcer with Michael Cole and Pat McAfee? I mean, I prefer the 2-person team, but if anybody could make that 3rd spot work and be entertaining, I think it would be her. I'd like to see her at least get an opportunity. Maybe they can keep doing the ding dong hello segments, but I'm hopeful she'll get to stay on TV at least for some of this time that she's out of action. And they can keep doing the interview segments and whatnot. So we had our final segment of the evening. Edge coming to the ring to call out Roman Reigns. He said he has exposed the cracks in the table. And he showed the footage, like the side-by-side stills of Reigns and Jimmy Uso getting that crossface and their reactions to it. Reigns was backstage with the Usos. He told them to stay behind. He came to the ring, but then the Usos backstage, they felt like there was a setup. So they wanted to go out there anyways to have Reigns' back. Reigns was not happy about this. He told them to stay outside of the ring. He got in the ring. A big fight broke out, and then the Rey Mysterio music hit. Rey Mysterio and Dominik, they attacked the Usos from behind with chairs. So the Usos were right. The Usos, their instinct was correct. They felt like there was a setup, so even though Reigns told them to stay back, they went out there and they were right. There was a setup. The Mysterios were there to try and take out Roman Reigns. So I like this aspect of the story here. Again, good storytelling. You know, the whole thing with Jimmy, though, kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's hard to really get into this knowing what's going on behind the scenes, and they're just kind of brushing it off to the side. Again, I hope they're doing something behind the scenes with Jimmy, and they're gonna take action. But I also understand from a business standpoint, they're trying to not have their storyline ruined too much if they can help it. So anyways, Mysterio's cleaned house. Dominik hit a double 619 to the Usos. And then the trifecta. Edge did the crossface to Reigns. Last week he did it to Jimmy. And then this week he grabbed that piece of the chair and did the crossface to Jay. So he got all three guys. And he even did it again to Jimmy for good measure. And Reigns was just there, not happy about what happened, but what could he do? The Mysterios were there with the chairs, and it was the three people in the ring. Not much he could do about it. He just bided his time. Really good ending here to the show. And overall, fun SmackDown to end the Thunderdome era. They definitely went out on a high note, at least with SmackDown. With Raw, not sure what to expect. I mean, I'm not expecting much for this last Thunderdome show that has already been recorded. It's probably going to be just your run-of-the-mill show. But for SmackDown, they had a really good show to end the Thunderdome era. Walter Cruz sent in a $2 super chat, says, Reigns looked weak at the end, should have helped. He's a heel. He bides his time. He's not going to get his hands dirty. He's not going to go into a fight where he's outnumbered. At that point, the Mysterios and Edge firmly had the upper hand, so he's not going to get in there. I mean, he's just not going to do it. He's smart. He's a smart guy. He's going to bide his time. I give the show a B+. Very good SmackDown. I would say AEW and NXT slightly were better shows than SmackDown, but it was very close. Everything but Raw was really strong this week. Darren, Lewis, Michael Wayne, Game Is On, and Walter all give it B+, as does MVP Kev. Ronnie gives it a B. Colin Andrew gives it a solid B. CC Drink with an A-, and Anthony with an A- as well. Alberto Gomez with a $5 super chat. Thank you again, Alberto. I appreciate it. Says, Reigns and the Usos versus the Mysterios. Winner take all at SummerSlam. Only if nobody is available for Roman at SummerSlam. Well, there's conflicting reports about John Cena. He has a new movie coming up. It starts filming in August. Could he work around it? I guess we'll find out soon enough. We know with The Rock, the Hollywood studios don't want him wrestling while he's doing movie projects. For the obvious reason, if he gets hurt, it can delay production. John Cena is part of an all-star cast. It's an ensemble cast. I don't know how big his role is. I don't know if it's something he can work around, if he can do the WWE stuff first. There's no exact date of when the filming starts, so we don't know what's up with Cena. But unless the studio is hell-bent on it not happening, I think WWE will try to work around it and get Cena in for SummerSlam. But yeah, that could be a backup plan. I could also see the Usos versus the Mysterios in a tag match. Hopefully they got a plan and they can go with something else. Hopefully they have a backup plan as well. Ronnie, I don't think it's going to be Alberto Del Rio. And in general, I would be very surprised if Del Rio ends up back in WWE. I also do not see that going over well if that ever did happen. Darren says, how would you fix Baron Corbin's character? I mean, I guess what they're doing here could work out. I'm going to let it play out. the King thing was well past its expiration date. They needed to change things up. So maybe a babyface turn will work. I'm not gonna knock it until I actually see how it plays out. Maybe it'll turn out to be a good thing. Who knows? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your viewership and support. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest regarding Money in the Bank, what's going on with John Cena and the Usos, Roman Reigns, all that stuff over at NoDQ.com. Enjoy your weekend. Next week, it's going to be pretty big. We got AEW in Texas and then Smackdown in Texas. Money in the Bank predictions will be not this weekend, but next Saturday before Money in the Bank. Subscribe, youtube.com/AaronRift, NoDQ. Tell a friend, and I will see you guys